Hey, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Derek Wetmore. I'm going to share with you my 5 thoughts from Thursday's Twins loss to the Detroit Tigers. Starting with number 1, the Twins and Tigers were delayed about 3.5 hours on Thursday. Rain in downtown Detroit pushed back the start of the game from noon central till almost 4 o'clock. The good news for both teams, however, is neither starting pitcher had really warmed up and was ready to go, meaning they didn't have to then sit down and, take the rest of the day off and do a bullpen day or something like that. Both Shane Green and Kyle Gibson were able to make their scheduled starts. It was just about 3 hours and 36 minutes later than they had originally planned to. Thought number 2, the Twins finally snapped their run-scoring drought. They had gone 2 full games without scoring a run, and then the first 6 innings of Game 3. But in the 7th inning, they were finally able to push a run across. Now, that's some record run-scoring futility to open a season. In fact, according to Stats Inc., the Detroit Tigers are now the new modern American League record holder for number of innings without allowing a run to begin a season. It's a lot, I know. That's 24 innings for the Detroit Tigers if you add them all up. Not only the first 2 games, shutouts, Monday and Wednesday, but then to go 6 innings and get an out in the 7th inning, really, before giving up a run to the Twins. So the good news for the Twins is that the streak is finally over. We can stop talking about the historic proportions. The bad news is that they are now atop the record book for that, and the Detroit Tigers will be opposite on that record-setting standing. My third thought is that the way the Twins scored that run is fairly unconventional. It's an unearned run, so the Twins still have not pushed an earned run across. And it's one thing to say that happened against, say, David Price or Anibal Sanchez, but for it to happen against Shane Green to go 8 innings and just get 1 earned run, that's not exactly the offensive output you're looking for from a team that scored the 7th most runs in baseball last year. Probably just a slow start from the Twins, I'm sure. I bet you they'll turn it on here as the season gets going. But still, it's starting off on the wrong foot from a perception standpoint. That's not the way the Twins were looking to start. Just to kind of explain their run really quickly. Joe Mauer walked to lead off the 7th inning. Torrey Hunter then popped out. So 1 out, runner on first. Kennys Vargas steps to the plate. He is the one who would eventually end the scoring drought. He lifted a ball to left center field off Green, and it's a ball that Yoenis Cespedes misplayed pretty badly. Probably should not have scored a run on that play. Mauer was ready to pull up and just stride into third with Vargas going to second, but because of Cespedes' misplay, third base coach Gene Glenn was able to wave Mauer around. He scored the Twins' first run of the season, albeit an unearned run, but like I said, finally we can stop talking about the historic proportions of that run scoreless streak. Thought number 4, Chris Herrmann had to leave the game. He was lifted for pinch hitter Kurt Suzuki in the 3rd inning. And the guess here, and from reports anyway, is that it's because of the foul tip that Chris Herrmann took off the mask earlier in the game. It was Herrmann's first start of the year. He was starting behind the plate in relief of Suzuki. And the first pitch from Kyle Gibson, foul tip from leadoff hitter Anthony Goes, struck Herrmann right in the catcher's mask, knocked off his mask, and it appeared to cut right on the bridge of his nose. Herrmann had to leave briefly, just go into the dugout, see team trainer Dave Primer, and he got just some sort of like liquid bandage or something like that to stop the bleeding. Apparently he was then lifted, though, in the 3rd inning for his at-bat, and according to reports out of Detroit, Herrmann was tested for a concussion, and he cleared that, so that's the good news for the Twins. But on a day Kurt Suzuki was not scheduled to be in the lineup, he ended up then having to catch, 6 innings and also take the rest of Herrmann's at-bats after that injury. Doesn't sound like it's a devastating injury by any means for the Twins, but we'll keep updates. We'll keep checking on Herrmann's status, see how he is for the weekend series against the White Sox. Thought number 5, and the final thought, is kind of a curious lineup decision, in my opinion. Now, I don't like to harp on individual lineup decisions because you never know. Somebody might just be resting a Nick that we never even hear about. There's a slight injury that just doesn't get reported, and the guy needed a day off. So it's hard to question all lineup decisions, but when they become a pattern, that's when I think we can start to question them and criticize them if they're not good decisions. Eduardo Escobar started in left field on Thursday, and I think that's a little bit of an interesting decision. Now, on the surface, it's just giving Oswaldo Arcia a day off, but it's weird that you're giving him a day off against a right-handed pitcher instead of a left-handed pitcher. Ozzy hits right-handers a lot better than he does left-handers, at least so far in his career. So that was kind of interesting timing, and also just this pattern for the Twins the past 2 years, throwing infielders just into the outfield without any or at least very little experience, and expecting that they'll succeed at the major leagues. Eduardo Escobar did not make any misplays in left field. There was a couple of balls that you sort of held your breath, but he looked fine out there. I just question, why you have a shortstop, a utility infielder, playing in left field. I get that the Twins probably want to get his bat in the lineup, and I think that makes some sense. Even for a left fielder, his bat would be about league average based on numbers from 2014. So it's not the end of the world that the Twins are trying to get his bat into the lineup. I just think it's weird that they would try to put so many outfielders, whether it's Danny Santana in center field last year, Eduardo Nunez, even Chris Herman to an extent, who's really a catcher, first baseman, more I think than he is an outfielder. The Twins have sort of miscast some people in the outfield in the past couple seasons, and it's a little confusing to me. We'll see if that trend continues, and we'll see how they keep getting Escobar's bat in the lineup while keeping Arcia's bat in the lineup, especially against right-handers. That'll be something we monitor this season. So that's my 5 thoughts for today. Thanks for watching this video. Check in this weekend. I'll have 5 thoughts, columns, and videos at 1500ESPN.com from the series this weekend in Chicago with the White Sox. Until then, check out the podcasts. We've got 2 pretty good Twins podcasts up right now. Not only the Touch 'Em All podcast, which is brand new, Phil Mackey and I recording once weekly on the Twins. Also the Sports Over Beers podcast. I did the food tour at Target Field and talked to some vendors about how do you get your restaurant or bar into Target Field. I talked to not only the Twins, but also the vendors on that process. Pretty fun Sports Over Beers episode. You can check that out on the Sports Wire, on SoundCloud, or on iTunes. That'll do it for this 5 Thoughts video. I'm Derek Wetmore. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.